All right, so we're talking about the Revolutionary War and kind of how the war takes place. We're going to teach this more online here and kind of through discussion instead of going through every battle in class because, well, test is really focused on that. But here's a question I want you to think about. This question right here, ladies and gentlemen. Should the Continentals, our Americans, or the U.S., whatever the heck you want to call them, should they have won this thing? That's the question I want to think about here, okay? Should we have won this conflict? Should this whole war have been won by the Americans? Let's take a look, all right? Here's a map looking at loyal strongholds. So, anything that's green, that's patriot. That's people who are like, yeah, freedom, woo, yeah. All right. Anything that's more of a pinkish, reddish color, that's loyalist strongholds. Loyalists being those who want to stay with Britain. Notice where the loyalists are most located. We have Canada. We have our own opinions on that. That's fine. Canada's cool, like Canada. But all the big cities are most of the loyal strongholds. New York, even Philadelphia, Norfolk, Virginia, Wilmington, North Carolina, Charlestown, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, those big cities, loyal strongholds, okay? Out here, Native Americans. So either they're loyalist or whatever, okay? And so you're thinking about this, a lot of countries, patriot, there's still some big areas that are loyalist areas. Think about this. I said this in class. We have about 1/3 patriot, 1/3 loyalist, 1/3 are either I don't care, or, kind of in the middle. Now, patriots, obviously in 1774, 75, even before everything goes down, Declaration of Independence, patriots are stocking weapons, okay? And Thomas Gage was the general in charge of Massachusetts. He's kind of the martial ruler, the military ruler of Massachusetts and Boston after the whole Boston Tea Party thing. He's like, okay, prevent a rebellion, let's disarm the people. And so he wants to go disarm, get rid of this big stockpile of weapons in Concord, Massachusetts. So, the Minutemen, these are the patriots. They're guys who are like, okay, we're going to keep our guns with us everywhere. In the barn, in the tavern, wherever we are, we have our guns. We can fight at, quote-unquote, a minute's notice. Okay, that fun name that way. The British leaving Boston in the middle of the night, they get a warning from the North Church. You have riders, not only Paul Revere, other guys that go out to alert everybody that things are going on. And Minutemen were ready in the town square in Lexington, Massachusetts, for the British to come in. Obviously, some were on the green, some were in the tavern. You know how it kind of goes, okay? But that was the first goes here. So April 19, 1775, first big battle here, where they're standing, on the ground. And the colonists said, surrender your weapons, don't cause trouble here. And all of a sudden, a shot rings out. There's all kinds of theories on how the shot rings out. Could have been a British, could have been the colonials. Somebody thinks we went back in time and did it. There's rumors of like it was Samuel Adams, the member of the Sons of Liberty, in the bushes with a pistol, whatever. Anyway, who cares? Started shooting at each other. 1 Brit wounded, 8 colonists killed. They march on to Concord. They go to Concord, destroy the weapons. Here's the thing, though. Britons march in columns. They march along roads in nice, neat columns all the way they're supposed to go. Very, very formal military. The colonists, they have the home field advantage, right? They know the territory. They're hiding in trees. They're hiding behind rocks. And they just pick apart this British column all the way back. And Britain loses. It has over 100 either wounded or dead by the time they get back to Boston. And the war is on, ladies and gentlemen. It is on. Kind of this northern campaign starting off here in 1775, even before we have a Declaration of Independence regarding Ticonderoga and in areas around Boston. Fort Ticonderoga was the first big U.S. American victory, continental victory, if you will. It's in modern-day Vermont. It's an old fort, looks like this. Okay, old fort. But there were 40 big old honking cannons in this thing. It was staffed by a skeleton crew of Brits. And there's a group of guys. One was Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys. These are kind of these big old backwoods guys from northern Vermont. And a good American general named Benedict Arnold, okay? To him later on, okay? And they take the fort off firing. So they basically pound up in the middle of the night and say, give us the guns or else. And the British are like, yeah, okay, here you go. And Arnold kind of takes this as kind of this big important generalship he gets now as in the colonial army. And those guns then are taken to Boston, and they're set up around the city of Boston. And you're thinking, wait, we want to keep the British out of Boston? No, they want to keep the British in Boston. That way they can't go elsewhere. And so they actually put the cannons on the high ground around the city of Boston and said, okay, if the British want to get out of Boston, they have to fight their way out. And that's where we get to the Battle of Bunker Hill. Kind of funny because it actually didn't happen on Bunker Hill. It actually happened on Breed's Hill, but whole other story. So up here, and this very nice little crude drawing we have, is where the cannons were. And the British had to march up this hill then, okay, and take over that area. Now, obviously, the British are in these nice, neat, straight lines here, marching up this hill. You have the colonial militia put together here, kind of, trying to, stop them, if you will. And the general of the British Army is called the name of Gentleman John Burgoyne. He enjoyed Boston. He also enjoyed the ladies, that kind of stuff. Kind of a well-known ladies' man in the British Army. But their job is to get these cannons out of the way. And the British march up this hill numerous times. Thousands of guys go up this hill. And the commanders, they yell this famous line, "Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes," or something to that accord. The British march up this hill 3 or 4 times, okay? There are over 1,000 British killed and wounded, and almost 500 colonials killed and wounded. Britain won, but it's at great cost. We're going to see this to be a war strategy for the colonials as they go forward here. Remember, they don't got to win. They just have to not lose. And so while, yes, they lost, they took a lot of British with them because, obviously you have to bring more soldiers from Britain. So it's a loss for the colonials, but in a way it's kind of a win too. There's this kind of fun story of Nathan Hale, the idea of patriot, right? And we kind of get this love of country. He was a colonial spy. He was captured by the British. He was to be hanged because those who were spies or for treason people were hanged. And as for his hanging, his any last words they asked. He goes, "I regret that I have one life to give for my country." And so that story got reprinted, kind of one of those little you-rah-rah stories that kept adding for the stories of the colonials. So the question is, we leave out a lot of times as Native Americans. And so Joseph Brant, this guy here, is one of the chiefs of the Mohawk tribe. And both colonials and the British were like, well, with the Native Americans. And Joseph Brant, one of the Mohawk chiefs, actually convinced the Iroquois Nation and the Iroquois Confederacy to support the British. Here's why. Think about land. Remember, the British made that proclamation in 1763. They said, hey, no more sailing past this land. They can't do that if the colonials won, if the Americans, if you will, won this war. Guess what's going to happen to their land? It was going to go bye-bye. And so they kind of got a lot of times Native Americans actually supported the British in this contest. Even groups that originally supported the French are now supporting the British against the colonials because of their fear of their land being taken away. Now, Washington takes command after the Second Continental Congress. I understand the Washington Army inherits, not so great. It kind of sucks, not to be honest with you, okay? They have no uniforms, no clothes, no shoes for that matter, no food, no discipline. These are guys with guns, all right? And they're fighting the best trained, best armed, most feared army in the world, okay? And Washington's like, all right, we have to figure out how to fight these guys and not run away. Even combat back then was more about, scaring the other side. Those bright red coats that those British guys wore, well, nowadays it's kind of a dumb idea in terms of, snipers and that kind of stuff. But back then, it was a scare tactic. It was meant to scare the crap out of you, and so you'd run the other direction. And most of the time, the colonial militia did. Washington's job was to make them not do that, okay? Remember, Washington has this big headache right here. 1/3 of the colonists were like, yeah, independence. 1/3 were loyalists. 1/3 were like, meh, whatever. He had to try to make sure you get the other 1/3 on his side. Also, a lot of his soldiers didn't have a national unit. They weren't like America, yeah. They were like New York, yeah. Massachusetts, yeah. Virginia, yeah. It was all about state and colony loyalties. It wasn't, you're not fighting for your country. You're fighting for your colony. So it's very different there. Also, armies need money. Armies need food. They need guns, all that kind of stuff. And there was no tax. Congress could not tax money, so he had to depend on IOUs. They actually just go and take stuff and give people IOUs for cattle, all those kind of things. And honestly, training-wise, he didn't have guys that could train his soldiers. Not until he brought in Baron von Steuben from Prussia. We'll talk about him a little bit. He actually got a decently trained army. So he's got all these problems, all right? Even look at the colonies. Think about goods coming in. You see imports and exports here. Nobody had money in the colonies right now. With the coercive acts that got taken place in 1774 after the whole British Tea Party issue, all those money was just nothing. There wasn't much money to go around, let alone try and find money for a war. And so everyone was poor and they're trying to make what they do what they had. Remember, at the start of the war here, the Continental Army is untrained, undisciplined. They have no government, which also means they have no flipping money, no food, no ammo. They do have good leaders like Washington and other guys. No Navy. They have the home field advantage. They know the territory. These guys are coming from England not knowing what's going on in the colonies. These guys know the place. They have a cause, right? They're fighting for their home. Whether it be their colony or their nation, they're fighting for their home. There's this whole independence, moral kind of thing. Where the British Army, yeah, they're well-trained, they're strong, a lot of money, big Navy. They have those Native American help. They're far from home, though, unfamiliar with the terrain. So really think about it. On paper right now, Britain should kick some serious tail, okay? Equipment-wise, U.S. Army or the Colonial Army, no uniforms. A lot of guys had no shoes. They wrapped rags around their feet, guys. No winter clothing. People literally froze to death in the Colonial Army. Not joking. Literally froze to death. Not enough guns. Some guys actually fought with spears and pikes. They fought with fishing pikes, for crying out loud, all right? And had no ships. Where the British Army was walking in, bright red coats, well supplied, advanced weapons for the time period, okay? They have officers with their teeth settings, all that kind of stuff. They have big guns, artillery, Navy support, and big honking ships. Once again, equipment-wise, British Army, big-time advantage right now, okay? Strategy is where you see things. The Americans only had to fight a war of attrition. Remember, if the Brits want more supplies, they have to get it from England, all right? They have to cut off the supply lines. They use guerrilla tactics. They're fighting an insurgent war. You don't got to win the battle. You just got to wear them down, okay? Make their life miserable so they leave and go home. And the Americans want to get an alliance with the French, the Spanish, somebody help them out. The British, on the other hand, they want to try and break the colonies back. They want to try and split it north and south, get in the middle, and not let them connect to each other. And they can use the ports to blockade. So that way, the Americans can't get anything from France or someplace else. Also, the British have one big benefit. They have the Loyalists. The Loyalists can fight with them and give them information to fight against the Colonials. Early on, things weren't good. Washington lost a lot of the early battles, okay? New York being the biggest loss. So phase 2, you kind of see where things happen here. We have some things happen in New York. In this New York area is kind of where phase 2 happened between 1777 and 1778. General Howe is the new general in Boston, and he wants to get out of there, okay? And so he goes to New York with 32,000 soldiers, including German missionaries called Hessians. Hessians were the most BA soldiers of the time. Supposedly, when colonials saw the Hessians, they ran the other direction to the sight or the sound of a Hessian. Washington's got 23,000 untrained soldiers. They're trying to fight in the streets of New York and lose miserably. Washington soldiers, early on, literally just retreat, turn tail, and either get bayoneted or shot in the back by the Hessians. Washington loses thousands of soldiers, okay, and running from British, okay? Washington, in a way, is a genius by doing this, though, okay? Even though he loses 7,000 soldiers, he gets the rest of his army, the little bit he has left, and hides in Pennsylvania. He's like, all right, we're going to retreat, fight another day. His army's smaller, is more mobile, knows where he's going. He can make that work. And in a way, he kind of saves his army come Christmas. Now, back then, a lot of the army only had 1 year sign-ups for it. And a very famous painting here, Washington crossing the Delaware River. And it's icy, all this kind of stuff you see here. You see Washington look all stoic, that kind of stuff on his ship. And this is before the Battle of Trenton. Now, this is right around Christmas, 1777. Like I said, in a few days, most of the men's enlistment papers will be up, and they can walk away if they want to. Morale is low. They just lost 7,000 guys in New York, okay? People are deserting. People are like, screw this, I'm not going to fight, just go and get killed. He wants to attack the Hessians. People are like, Washington, dude, are you psycho? They just killed our guys, all right? And he wanted to really do this attack right after Christmas, be a big moral victory, make it be a surprise. And it wasn't really a surprise. There were so many Americans deserting the army. They actually walked to the Hessian camp and said, hey, guys, guess what? The Americans are coming. Fighting parts of the British didn't believe them. The Hessian general actually asked for more soldiers to help defend the city of Trenton, and the British told him, no, the Americans aren't going to do anything. Facepalm. Anyway, the Battle of Trenton is not a big battle. It's a battle involving less than 4,000 people. The Americans had to actually cross the icy Delaware River. A lot of guys fell in the river and actually died and drowned for this part. Then march 9 miles, okay, to the city of Trenton and attack at daybreak. It was raining. It was actually freezing rain at this point. They were wet. They were cold. 2 dudes die on the march because they get frostbite and freeze to death. Dudes are losing toes on this march because their feet are frozen. They have to fight with bayonets because their guns won't even work. The Americans storm in the morning, catch them kind of by surprise, catch the Hessians kind of by surprise. They kill 17, capture 850. It's a huge moral victory. Minor victory in terms of like strategy and numbers, but a big moral boost. And guys like, hey, we beat the Hessians. Let's go. Well, the big myth of this battle is that all the Hessians were hammered and drunk from Christmas the day before. Actually, one officer in Washington's group wrote, yeah, let's attack on Christmas. They're going to be hammered and drunk yet. Probably not the case. Actually, one of the Patriots wrote a book later on and said that even though he took all these Hessian prisoners, they weren't really that drunk. It's kind of those little like myth kind of things. But anyway, it's still a fun story to tell people. Saratoga's the next big place. Okay, this will be the last one we look at in this video. The British need to take Philadelphia. And so Burgoyne goes up in Canada and says, we're going to attack south and take Philadelphia and in Albany, New York. He leads his men south from Quebec, has 10,000 guys, attacks all these little small forts all over the place, and takes them all. He'll leave a few hundred guys in each fort. And by the time he gets down to later forts, he has a small army. Saratoga is this turning point, ladies and gentlemen, big turning point that happens up here in upstate New York at Saratoga. He needs to hold every single fort. And so he leaves all his little guys. And by the time he gets down there, Benedict Arnold and the Colonial Army attack these little battles, and British take some losses. And we're continuing this up in the second video, listening to Schoology, guys. Watch that one next.